All right. Good morning, beloveds. Hi, Asterix. How are you, baby? You coming out? I wasn't expecting you to pop your head out. You all right, baby? Hey, sweetheart. I'm cat sitting. She just popped her head out and is letting me pet her. I've known this cat for probably most of her life, and I've seen her like 3-4 times, and this is the first time she's let me pet her. Hi, Asterix. You coming out? Hi, baby. All right. You can come up. You're all right. Yeah, sorry, this is not what you're here for. You're here for the living the science of mind. But, yeah, there's a cat head right down there. I'm very excited. Well, now she's gone. She let me scratch her. I'm very excited. All right, so we are doing living the science of mind. Let's do the housekeeping really quick now that the cat head has popped back under the couch. And all that is me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. The website is creativelife.org. The constant contact email, info@creativelife.org. You get 1 email a week, and it just tells you what's going on for the week and the month. And the hot links are hot. The other really important part about that is that it is a blind CC, which means nobody's going to see your email. You won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us. Very important information. And it will also... it's 1 email a week. There's a real person doing it, and he doesn't have time for more than that. The only reason you would get is if something unusual happens, because I will point out we do live in hurricane country. So that's it. And let's mention the social media just really quickly, because we don't monetize it. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So what we ask you to do instead is to sorry. I'm over it. It's just I still have the edges of the congestion right there. What we ask you to do instead is to like, subscribe, and follow based on the pages. If you allow notifications, if you subscribe, like, and follow, then it will notify you when we either go live or upload new videos. Then the other thing is engage with the individual posts. So react to the post, comment on the post, share the posts. Bumps us in the algorithms, more people see our stuff, and that way none of us are giving them money. So, because, great big corporations. All right, that should be everything. So, I've started calling this the FAQ, frequently asked questions, because that's my pet theory. All but 2 of the essays in this book came out of the at-home course that used to be in the back of Science Mind magazine. Basically, you would mail off for it, and they would mail you a lesson a week for 48 weeks. Now, what I think happened is that people came to the lectures, and they read the textbook, and they had questions. So they came to Ernest with their questions. However, they, did they write to him? Did they call him? Did they ask him? I don't know. And so he ended up creating that at-home course, which, by the way, is called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, I believe. But what you can do is go to the Science of Mind Archives website and it's Science of Mind Archives, and go to where they list their books and use their Amazon link. When you use their Amazon link, they get some of the money, which it's a great organization, and you should definitely support Reverend Kathy. So, so it's available. It took 6 books to do that at-home course. And then eventually they pulled a bunch of essays and created this. Yeah. So, all right. I think we're ready. Let me get my glasses on. We are going to tackle the will to live today. I have no idea what that's going to be about, but here we are. So, okay. The will to live. We are told that we are born with a will to live and that an almost equal will to die. that when we look forward to more pain and unhappiness than to peace and joy in living, the mind begins to destroy the body, so we shall not have to suffer the pain we unconsciously anticipate. Wow, that's morbid. I did not know that. Interesting. The will to live and to be happy is necessary to our physical being, to our physical well-being. The more we study the way the mind works, the more we realize that most of our physical ills and perhaps all of our unhappiness comes from certain deep-rooted reactions to life that generally are built around the idea that we are not wanted or needed or loved. Ooh. All right. Okay. We feel some deep sense of guilt, and this gives rise to a feeling of insecurity and anxiety. Thus, we reject ourselves and suffer because of this self-imposed condemnation. So the morbid race goes on in the inner conflicts of the mind until finally the frustration is so great that the mind begins to destroy the body because of the impressions it has received are destructive. When this reaches a point where there is no longer a will to resist it, we say the person does not have the will to live. And so even nature cannot restore them, and generally, in such cases, they pass on. What we need is a deep underlying faith or conviction about life that will remove this inner conflict and frustration and let the original divine pattern come to the surface. For we are all rooted in God, the living Spirit. There would have to be a perfection at the center of our being, or we should not be here. This is what Jesus meant when he said, "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect." Our roots run deep into the creative soil of the infinite mind, and if we had not stopped drawing straight from the roots of our being, we should be all right. The science of mind, under different names and schools and methods, recognizes this. Its endeavor is to find out where and when and how we started on the wrong path, the pathway that leads to destruction rather than life. The pathway that leads to unhappiness and frustration rather than joy through self-expression. People are born to be happy, to live creatively, to love, to sing, to dance, and to express themselves to the full. When they do not do this, they feel unhappy, sad, alone, and wish they were dead. They no longer have the will to live. We must find a method that can easily and quickly reach the seat of our trouble. Instead of probing the mind to see just where, when, and how this whole negative chain of destructive thoughts started, we can go back to that which is more fundamental. We can go back to God, the creative spirit, and say, I was born of God. There is one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Nothing has interfered with that life. Nothing can interfere with that life. And then I know that there is nothing in the universe that holds anything against me. And following the thought of the great teacher, forgive and ye shall be forgiven, we can say, I forgive myself. I forgive everyone else. The past is gone. It no longer affects me. I know that God holds nothing against me, and if I have done anything to hurt others, or they have done anything to hurt me, I now forgive myself and them. Therefore, I am conscious that I have complete clearance. There is no judgment, no condemnation. We must also know that there is no fear. Perfect love casts out all fear. Therefore, we can say, I have confidence in life. I have a deep faith and a complete conviction that God is all there is, and that I am wanted and needed and loved, not only by the divine spirit, but by everyone I meet. I belong to life. It belongs to me, and I am going to enter into it with joy. Life is ready to give me everything that is good, and I am ready to pass it on to others. I am a channel through which good flows in every direction, giving and receiving and giving. The channel is never stopped. We can say to ourselves, I love that he's giving us all these examples. And the great thing is if you like the examples, use them. And if you don't, reword them until they make sense to you. Okay, so this is another one. I have no sense of insecurity or anxiety. I feel secure in God. I know that I will be guided and guarded and loved into fulfillment. I have no anxious thought for tomorrow, for I know what to do when tomorrow comes. I shall be guided to know what to do, having no morbid regrets over the past and no anxiety over the future. I live today as though God were all there is, because God is all there is. There is no other power, no other presence, and no other life. All right. We're going to get a little more commentary here. I think he's done with examples for the moment. You can always tell when he's giving you an example because they printed it in italics. Jesus knew what was in people's minds. He knew about what today we call the blocks and conflicts, the repressions, the inhibitions, which go under the names of inferiority complex or superiority complex, or a sense of rejection and guilt. And he took people's minds straight back to life and told them that it did not matter so much what had happened in the past because they could get complete clearance from it. All right, wait, what? He took people's minds straight back to life and told them that it did not matter so much what had happened in the past because they could get complete clearance from it. All right. Hi, Asterix. You going back under? I'll fill your bowl before I leave. All right, baby? What matters was that they should forgive themselves and others, know that they are forgiven, and that no longer indulging in what was wrong, they would feel a new will to live surging up within them. Okay, and see, there was a very important line in there. No longer indulging in what was wrong. I have said before, and I will say again, the best apology is a change of behavior. So once we give up doing the wrong and let go of the guilt of doing wrong, we've made our amends, we've learned our lesson, then we can see that change. All right. You remember how frequently Jesus spoke of the joy that was his and how he said that he had come that they might have life and have it more abundantly. He placed great emphasis on the will to live creatively and to enjoy life. The will to live creatively and enjoy life. Jesus did not say that life held anything against us or condemned us or judged us. He said that at any hour of the day, we can get a complete clearance. This is what he meant in the parable of the laborers, where the man who came at the 11th hour received the same compensation as the one who had labored all day, as though he were saying, what if you have been lurking in the dark or damp shadows of previous experience until you are so depressed that you don't know what to do because you are surrounded by darkness? The very moment you step into the sunshine, you are in the light. Just place yourself in the position so that all shadows will be cast behind you, so that there will be nothing between you and the sun, and let its warmth and energy fill you with a new will to live. No person has the will to live unless they feel that life is worth living. And they cannot have a deep sense of the will to live unless they feel that they are going to live forever somewhere. It is impossible to divorce this will to live eternally, this belief that we are immortal beings, from the best possible mental hygiene. This is why Jesus laid so much emphasis on eternal life, that there was always something worthwhile to look forward to. The play has just begun, and it will never end. It has been my opportunity to consult with thousands of people over a period of years, and my experience has taught me that Carl Jung was right when he said that he had never yet seen one single permanent healing from neurosis without a restoration of spiritual faith. Okay. And that it is impossible to get the most out of life while we are here unless we believe in immortality. I've said that. That was one of the things that I appreciate so much about the Eastern medicine that I think Western medicine could do a better job of. If you want to heal the body, you got to deal with the body, the emotions, and the soul. That is where permanent healing happens. And until you get the emotions, that's why they say with cancer, the people held by strong emotions, be they joy or anger, tend to do better than the people that aren't. Like if they're angry and want to fight it, or if they're joyful and know that they're going to live, they tend to do better than the people who don't. There is something in that will to live. There is nothing complicated about us. We should stop thinking it is so difficult to get our thoughts straightened out and begin to realize how easy it must be, for there is no mystery about it. We know that thoughts are things, and we know that our inward emotional reactions to our way of thinking do produce inward psychic or mental disease, dis-ease. Ugh. Okay. Sorry. The longer I talk, the more it knocks the congestion loose, apparently. Let's see. And we know that our inward emotional reactions to our ways of thinking do produce inward psychical or mental disease, which in turn give rise to most of our physical afflictions. And we know that the reason this happens is because our thoughts are based on the negative rather than positive, on fear rather than faith, on disappointment rather than fulfillment, and on all the other negative attitudes we could name. And you know what? There's research to back him up on that. Because when we're focused on the negative, we make different choices than we do when we're focused on the positive. We know that the battle for the right to live happily through the will to live rightly is half won when we have correctly diagnosed the trouble. And if we have been walking down a road that leads nowhere, where the trail runs out and stops, all we have to do is reverse our steps and remember the power which took us down the wrong road can just as easily lead us back to the right one. It takes less energy to live constructively than it does to live destructively. All right, that's a premise. Let's see where he's going to go with that statement. It takes no energy to have faith, while fear devastates such energy as we have. Okay, you know what? He's right there. It takes no energy to love, and it is hate that is destructive. It does not take the mental or physical energy to be happy, but unhappiness and morbidity consume so much energy that it devitalizes us mentally and physically. It does not take mental or physical energy to build up hope. It is despair that blocks us. All it takes is faith. Ugh. Yeah. Those negative emotions definitely sap your energy. Pain saps your energy. It sometimes seems strange that life should have delivered such power into our keeping, such a will and imagination, and then let us alone to make the great discovery for ourselves. Sometimes we wonder why it did this, as though we were questioning the providence of God. But a little thought will show us that God never made any mistakes and never can. This is the only way we can have been created as free people. Yep, I was going to say, it comes down to that free will thing. For the very idea of freedom carries with it the obligations of ignorance and the rewards of understanding. Oh. Okay, and now it is high time that we awake from our sleep and come back to a direct and intimate relationship with the power greater than we are, and to the law of good acting creatively on our prayers of affirmation, our meditations of faith, and our hymns of praise. The science of mind conspires with us because it has led us back through the dim and dark caverns of our own thinking to the original source of our being, which it has hesitated to call God, but which it knows is a power greater than we are. Okay. I understand for a lot of people, and I guess that's what he's saying here, is for a lot of people, God is a trigger word. So we hesitate to call it God because, it's a trigger word, but we understand and know that it is a greater power than we are. A power greater than we are. That's interesting. No one can travel the new road for us but ourselves. Yeah. It's like, I can walk beside you for a brief period of time. I can hold my lamp up to show you where to put your feet, but I can't walk the path for you. No one can travel the new road for us but ourselves. Science may put up a sign, this is the way, walk in it. But even as the prodigal of old remembered who he was and resolutely turned his steps homeward, so must we decide that life is for us and not against us. And turning from everything that denies this, take our journey into the promised land. Oh, thank God tomorrow's shorter. The more I talk, the more congestion I knock loose. So there we are. All right. Well, I'm just going to wrap this up because my throat is done. And I need to make sure that I get some food into Asterix's bowl. For Asterix, because I know she's into here. All right, beloveds. So I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a take care of business day, a take care of yourself day, a cuddle your fur babies day, a do what you got to do day, a take care of some task that you don't want to do. Just get it off your plate day. Take a break for yourself day, enjoy the cooler morning, because it was, I don't know what the rest of the week's going to look like, but this morning was relatively cool. Make sure you drink plenty of water. Please stay out of the sunlight between 10 and 2. Be aware of the heat. Our high's still going to be 95 today. You got this day, a good day, and if that is too much pressure, it's Monday morning, I get it. Simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are spirit in motion, God in action, a brilliant light, a divine spark, a beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. And as Reverend Jose likes to call us, you are godly. All right, beloveds. Woo. I got to wrap this up before I cough again. Explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good. From there, anything is possible. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I should be back with you around 9-ish. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time.